Up next is the panel discussion, and we have 5 seasoned panelists with us this evening. They're between 5 minutes each of talk. Firstly, we have Dr. Bashir Olalekan of Bashikola. He's the immediate past vice chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Organization Europe, 2014 to 2016. Prior to that position, he was the chairman of the Russian chapter of the organization for many years. He's the director of economics, senior finance manager at the finance department of Fashion Press LLC, independent media, a multi-million-dollar Russian-American corporation based in Moscow. We also have with us this evening the head remittance distribution Ecobank Nigeria, Mr. Linus Adaba is the head of remittance distribution of Ecobank Nigeria, as well as the group head remittance distribution for Ecobank Group. He is an economist and a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CIBA. With us also tonight is Dr. Kazim Bello, President, Nido, New Jersey. He is a seasoned professional banker, private equity specialist, development specialist, risk manager, and project manager. He commenced his banking career out of Nigeria, working for some of the top-line commercial and merchant banks in Nigeria. He rose to the position of an area manager before he relocated to the United States in 1999, where he has had a flourishing career. With us also tonight is Mrs. Korede Demola Adeni, the head consumer banking Ecobank Nigeria. She has well over 29 years experience in the banking industry, out of which 17 years has been spent in Ecobank. She has deep knowledge in assets and liability management, trading, sales, and treasury management in Africa economics. And with us also is Honorable Dabor Amos Nzahan, President, All Nigerian Nationals in Diaspora, Togo. He is He's a Nigerian national residing in the Republic of Togo. He's the president of all Nigerian nationals in the diaspora, Togo, the president of all Nigerian nationals in the diaspora, West Africa chapters, the president of the African Diaspora Forum, Togo, and the president of the African Diaspora Forum, ADF West African chapters, as well as the Director General, ETS Biaka Togo. He's also a FIFA Players Agent intermediary with the Nigerian Football Federation in Abuja. You are welcome, sirs. At this juncture, I'd like to start with, we will spend 5 minutes, and after we are done, the questions will now wait behind for the questions that listeners will be putting up. So first panelist is Dr. Bashir of Bashikola, former Vice Chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Organization Europe. He'll be talking on capturing diaspora flows for effective diaspora and nation building. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I hope I'm being heard clearly.
Loud and clear, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening to everyone, and good morning wherever there's morning. I'm delighted to be around here with you, and I commend the Ecobank for what they are doing and bringing themselves and their services closer to the diaspora. And I think with today's webinar, a lot of diasporans will be more informed about how to get the services of Ecobank. So I commend the management. My name has been introduced. I'm Dr. Bashir Obashikola. I'm immediate past Vice Chairman of the Board of Trustees of Nigeria and Diaspora in Europe. I'm an economist by training, and I work in Moscow. I'm talking about capturing diaspora financial flows for effective investment and nation building. I want to start that there's no better time than now that the whole world is in a panic in pandemic consequences of the COVID-19. That people are very thoughtful and thinking about their investments and how they can properly direct them to yield returns, even though the situation of things are very very, very dicey in terms of, where the COVID-19 effect will reach. Nobody knows. As has been said earlier, that there is spark already again going on all over the world, including Europe and America and other places. So there is no better time to talk about how best to utilize the funds that the diasporans, the little funds that is remaining with diasporans, how best to utilize them to make it a more productive investment. It has been reported that the COVID-19 effect is already being felt in the remittances that is coming to Nigeria. So we expect that if the pandemic continues, surely there will be more negative effect on how much comes to Nigerian, in terms of remittance. Of course, remittance is the largest and the most prominent financial flows that come from diaspora. Hence, the attention is being paid more to it than other sources of finance. But the question remains: how do we capture them? How do we capture the finance that flows from diaspora? The best way and the most proper way is to use the formal institutions. The use of banks and the institutions, financial institutions, in transferring funds. So, and that means that to be able to have that, to encourage people to, use the financial, channels, the institutions, formal institutions, rather than, like we normally say, people going home, you say, okay, please drop this amount or drop that amount, and all the informal channels. We need to encourage people. And I think what Ecobank is doing now is one of those ways of encouraging people to use formal transaction channels. So I want to commend Ecobank again for this rapid payment app that they are introducing. So that brings closer to what we want to achieve. That is making sure that the money that comes through from the diasporas are channeled through the formal channel, so that we will be able to capture it, we will be able to follow it up in Nigerian system. So remittances, that could be transferred through the formal sectors, has to be, more comfortable. So, and in that sense, apart from the technological know-how, which we are introduced to now, there should be, the competitive price. That is the rate, that is being charged for transfer. We are aware about the differential treatment that African or Nigerians are being subjected to by the other, money transferring agencies. I don't want to start mentioning them here, but you all know who I'm talking about. The way, the charges they have. Some countries are benefiting from something like, what I can call corporate discounts. That the charges they charge those countries like Filipinos, Vietnamese, they charge them lower than charging Nigerians. So I want to say that the Nigerian factor in terms of getting a lower rate for transferring our funds is very important. So I want to say Ecobank app hopefully will be able to occupy that niche of factor. The other factor which I think is very important to encourage the official channel is the rate, the exchange rate. Because if you notice that there was something like a down grade flow of currency to Nigeria, when there was something like a controlled exchange rate, a double exchange rate in Nigeria, where people have different rates in the black market, what they call black market, in the parallel market, and the official rate, which people know that it's not possible to have this thing. So the cost, the exchange rate has to be very transparent and very relevant in terms of encouraging people to use official channel. So, and when you use official channel, the banks institution will also be able to follow up by the services that we mentioned, how to make those investment, to make those remittances to become productive investment sector. You have talked about fixed accounts, fixed deposits, real estate, capital markets, and and all those treasury bills that the banks are able to introduce to the customers. So these are areas that could easily be followed up and captured once we had the official transfer channel of transaction. Then there must be macroeconomic conditions that we also encourage diasporans to bring their money for the investment purposes, not only for the consumption of their families, which for remittances are mostly for, school fees, and even though they have also economic effect, but nevertheless, creating jobs and being productive in the economy of Nigeria requires that we have investment, long-term investment, which those funds could also be channeled to. And I want to also say that the government has its own part of the bargain to do in terms of creating the enabling environment, economic enabling environment for the country, for diaspora to see Nigeria as a direction of investment. So, and I think together these factors could always balance itself, what the banks are doing, the financial institutions and the private sector, and what the government macroeconomic environment that they have to create for banks, for diasporans to actually make their monies to impact on the nation building. So thank you very much, and I think when we have time for questions and answers, we'll be able to answer more questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Bashir Obashikola, former Vice Chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Organization, for that input. Up next is the Business Manager Remittance Distribution, Ecobank Nigeria, Mr. Linus Adaba. He was talking on reversing diaspora export services as a strategic plan for strong economy. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Adedeji. Fellow Nigerians, my pleasure this evening to talk to you on my own perspective on how we should move the diaspora business as an engine of growth in the Nigerian economy and reversing that export services that you currently do today. The business that you do abroad results in the wealth that you create, of which 22 billion is seen as annual flow into Nigeria. But as we celebrate our 60th independence, can we begin to send for ourselves a new threshold of achievement? We should not begin to continue to dwell in our 22 billion that we bring back home every time. But we should ask ourselves, how does these flows come into a bank account that is traceable as a catalyst for growth in Nigeria? And I cannot but agree with the first speaker, Dr. Bashir, that we have to use official means to channel money into Nigeria. And that is why we bring this collaboration to yourselves, that using the Rapid Transfer app today allows you to credit accounts or any financial services based account in Nigeria in a way that is measurable, that is traceable for national growth. There are three pillars that we look out for when you want to look at bringing diaspora entrepreneurial spirits into the country. One, the fact that the diaspora community are able to organize across Europe. We are aware that you are structured in over 17 different chapters of NIDO. In America, we tend to see a structure around more of professions: Nigerian professional doctors, professional lawyers. And in Africa, we are also beginning to see that formation. That is the first pillar. The second pillar is the fact that government also has been able to give a level of seriousness by creating the Nigerian Diaspora Commission. And the third pillar is a financial institution like Ecobank providing the banking services that you need as Nigerian in diaspora to repatriate that money back home for investment purposes. And when that is done, then we begin to see the catalysts of change as you invest in the economy, in the areas that you can say they are cottage industries, but at least areas of your own expertise. I would want to cite the example of India. India today is doing about 80 billion annual flows. Indians are also like Nigerians all over the globe. You have the Ministry of Indian Foreign Affairs, which you can liken to a night pump. And Indians send money back home. As a matter of fact, it is estimated that 60% of their own earning abroad are remitted home. And there are 35 million Indians all over the globe. What we can see in India today in one of the sectors is the transformation of their health. They have world-class hospitals today that they begin to give medical tourism to other nationals. That medical tourism is huge inflow into India. We should start replicating this, and Ecobank is your partner in doing that. In celebrating our next 60 years, in our next tranche of 60 years of independence, perhaps a centenary independence, can we look back and say, we are also bringing more than 22 billion into the economy, but more importantly, we have used it to empower our siblings back at home. We have been able to channel this through the bank, and working with government and the commission that has been created, we've been able to do something that is impactful into the Nigerian economy. So I join you today to please join us in this journey by opening an Ecobank account. Download the Ecobank app. It is easy. And as Dr. Bashir said, the Ecobank app, the Ecobank remittance app, the rapid transfer app, actually is what gives you that discrimination in pricing. We are affordable, and we will continue to work with you in the price that we would like to see, because we know that that money is coming back to Nigeria and it is more to the beneficiaries. Thank you.
Up next is the contribution from Dr. Kazim Bello, President, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, New Jersey. He'll be talking on remittances as social invest vehicle for sustainable livelihood and poverty alleviation. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much.
Organization, I meant to say. Thank you.
Yeah, our protocol observed due to time, and I want to commend Ecobank for bringing this up at a very good time of a landmark in an effort to build a nation that we call a nation, Nigeria. Yes, I will try to do justice in a very brief 2-3 minutes to what you have said, but I am somebody that likes to work with statistics and records. Let's look at what are actually remittances. What are those? Remittances, as we all know, are foreign money handed by overseas citizens abroad, and globally is in 2019 we have about 800 billion flowing around in remittances, and that represents about 8% of the global GDP. And of course, we know that remittances have helped countries around the globe. We can talk about the Chinese, the Indians, Indonesia, the Bangladesh. In actual fact, remittances helped Bangladesh to come out of poverty for a long time. And
Turkey, Philippines, Mexico. These are countries that have benefited tremendously from remittances from their citizens abroad. So what actually are the components of remittances? I was in Abuja, I believe last year, and this issue came up, and I'm a research fellow, a kind of writer for Brooklyn institutions, and I know we've done a study regarding Nigerian remittances. The truth and the fact of the matter is that Nigeria remits about $35 billion every year, and that is erroneous from what people have been saying. It's 20, 22, something like that. But this is an in-depth analysis of what are, and I'll tell you what the components are. Number one, there's this money that we transfer through the regular institutions, which are the ones that we all know, the regular money transfer, Western Union and the like of them. That's about $16 billion in 2019. And we also do what we call Ghana Must Go. If I'm coming to Nigeria, I probably have about $5,000 in my pocket in cash, because when I get to Lagos, I can definitely secure more exchange rates for myself than sending the money through Western Union. So I'd rather carry that cash. But nobody tracked that. Nobody knows how much is that. But it's through analytical survey, we know that it can amount to about $2 billion annually. I'm talking of figures from US, please. US now. Also, we talk about cash money that are transferred through portfolio activities and bank wire transfers. These are not recorded as part of the transfers that we are talking about, but they are portfolio. So when you accrue all these outlets, you probably go to about 34 billion, and it is a mounting number of figures that Nigeria needs to be thinking how to amass that and harness that. What are the characteristics? I mean, now before I go into other things, what are the characteristics of Nigerians in US based on what I know for a fact? In Nigeria, we have about 430,000 Nigerians that are documented, but we know we have about 1.3 million in Nigerians in US. And of course, our average income is about $38,000, which is very high by all standards. And Nigerians in America are reputable for about 47% educated in terms of education within the United States. And now let's look at issues dealing with what do we do in terms of opportunities within the remittances. One thing that we have not done is that we lost a lot of opportunities in terms of savings. We are not capturing enough from the diasporans, believe me. If savings in Nigeria is average 4% or 7%, and the savings rate in the US is less than 1%, there's no reason why I shouldn't keep my money in Nigeria. But the reason why that is not happening is because of lack of institution. There's a lot of mistrust about the institutions in Nigeria. A lot of Nigerians have invested money in banks that have collapsed, and till today they have not even got their money back. I know a lot of people have been telling me about that. The functionality of the system have to be fluid in terms of guaranteeing people's money, investment, and trust like that. You have to let people trust the system and then take advantage of those things. If you look at Mexico, the same thing in Mexico, they have high interest rate. Most of the Mexicans move their money to Mexico, and that's why they have higher remittances. And of course, you also have to look into opportunities that are created by the youth. There's tremendous amount of young Nigerians that are graduating across Nigerian and universities in US. Most of them do not have any attachment to Nigeria. We have to design opportunity for them to be able to be attracted to Nigeria. They love Nigeria. They love Nigerian music, but they are paranoid to go to Nigeria to do something because of security reasons, because nobody is looking at them. And of course, retirees. A lot of retirees are hooked up in the US because they cannot find a way to move money to Nigeria to have a good living. And this is a very huge opportunity that we have to tap into. And finally, let me look at, within the short time I have, what can we do as a country to improve on the capacity of tapping on opportunity of remittance in order to increase investment and social living and elevate poverty in Nigeria. One of it is that Nigerian banks must be proactive. They have to be a little proactive. What I mean by that is that this country, as US, is a $19 trillion economy. Nigerians alone in America produce $580 million in GDP. That is a huge number, more than even Nigerian produces. And that's to tell you how capable they are. But we do not have one single Nigerian bank represented in the whole of the United States of America. Not single one. Most of these countries that we're talking about, Philippines, Turkey, Malaysia, Philippines, Mexico, they don't have banks that help their citizens to transfer money easily. You don't have to go through Western Union, and Ecobank should be in a position to do that. And that's why I commend Ecobank for putting this up and trying to capture the remittance. And those are the ways you can do that. You can have an office here. Trust me, you have a very wise group, because I work in a bank. I know most of these our African brothers and West Africa come to me to say, Kazim, how can I transfer money to Africa? I say, no, there's no way. You have to pay the damn $40 to do that. So the platform that you guys are putting up is very good. Again, there's need to ensure that we redirect opportunities from for Nigerian banks and for Nigerians to be able to take advantage of available resources in technology that we are having across the globe in terms of money transfer. Like you rightly said, somebody already said, there's way of transferring money that are cheaper and safer for people, and let's imbibe those opportunities. And finally, I want to also mention about Nikon. I want to commend what Nikon has started. I've actually mentioned and championed that over a lot of time. And what Nikon should be focusing is they should look at the creating and generating strategic opportunities that we capture unlimited access to funding from Nigeria and abroad. They should also create a model, investment model that will allow a very strong match between what is being generated and what is being funded. That is very important. You do not want to create a failure. If there's a failure in the system, there will be mistrust and people will not invest in it. But when you have a model in place, just like any other model across the globe. And finally, you must have an investment policy. The policy must focus on either you are doing investment typically on startup or growth income company, or company that already have a VP profitability risk, less risk rate, and stuff like that. And of course, I will also encourage Nikon to facilitate a bank, one of the Nigerian bank, work with one of the Nigerian banks to set up operation in US, and you will see a lot of remittances coming to Nigeria. Thank you very much.
All right, a big thank you to Dr. Kazim Bello for that one. So up next is the head consumer bank, Ecobank Nigeria, Mrs. Korede Demola Adeniyi. She'll be talking on the dynamic diaspora financial services as a bank should provide. Dynamic diaspora financial services a bank should provide. 5 minutes, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. We're very honored today to have you here attending this webinar, and thank you very much for doing that. I think the very first thing I would like to say is that I have the honor of actually being a diaspora myself. About 2 years ago, I worked in Ecobank, Lomé, Togo. So I can actually identify with what a diaspora actually wants. And I'll just talk you through, rather brief, but please listen to me very carefully, because I can really imagine that, especially in this new normal, when you are diaspora customers are living in the diaspora, you will be looking for a bank that will make you have a sense of belonging and closeness to the bridges, the distance created between you and home. And I think that is what we are trying to portray as a bank that would understand you and your evolving needs. My colleague had actually summarized that there are 3 major things the diaspora customer wants. But in between those things, I would just like to say a few of the things I think are very important. And of course, as we listen to you more, we'll be able to look for other opportunities to create more services for you. The first thing I know is that the diaspora customer must transact. And if he must transact, he must open an account. And he must invest, especially when there's trust. And then, as a daily habit, he must remit money. So in between these three objectives, I also know there are salient things the diaspora customer would like you. When you open your account in Ecobank Nigeria, you are allocated a dedicated RM, a relationship manager, who offers you personalized service. And we also have a reliable contact center, which would resolve any issues that may arise when you're trying to handle your hard-earned funds. On transacting, our award-winning Ecobank mobile app, which is used in 33 countries in Africa, can be used to transfer money within Nigeria and also anywhere in Africa. This app can be used to pay your bills, manage your account, and also create virtual cards. Of course, there is more. I'm just trying to highlight what I think will hit you. And then, of course, when you know more about it, there will be other things you would also do. As I said, because I understand and identify with the diaspora, it takes building a trusting relationship with the bank to get to the investing stage. This would have been achieved through your dedicated RM, who will give you financial advisory depending on your life stage. This, of course, will lead to various investment decisions. You might want to buy a house. You might want to save for a pilgrimage, either to Mecca or to Israel, and so many more things. Some of our diaspora customers actually pay their alumni fees through our app. Then, let me land on remittances, which has been spoken so well about today. That's like a daily habit for a diaspora. You have to send money home. We're all Africans. We know that we like to take care of our people home. So with Rapid Transfer app, it can be done conveniently, safely, and affordably. You had been shown how it works, and I urge you to download it now and experience it and give feedback even before the end of the session. Currently, it is free to transfer, no commission now, up till October 31st, 2020. We did that during the Diaspora Day, and we said it would run up to October 31st, 2020. But subsequently, the commissions vary from 1% to 3%, nil to 3%. So 3% if you want to do it instantly, and you can get 0% if you do it on the fourth day. So I think that is a very good proposition. The exchange rate is very transparent. We have talked here about how do we capture remittances, how do we know exactly what's coming into Nigeria. This is what Ecobank Nigeria is doing to ensure that we know what's coming in and how it can be used. The rate is also competitive as compared to the global remittance companies all around. So you can check that even before you do it. I think the last thing I'd also like to talk to you about today that I think would be very useful is what our Treasury actually does is capable of doing for diaspora customers. I realize that some customers like to keep their currency in the currency that they have earned it. So either dollars, pounds, or euros. We can take it as you have it, and we can use various vehicles to create opportunities for you for investment. First, you can open a domiciliary account in any of those three major currencies, and then you can now think about investing the excess funds in various products, either fixed deposits, euro bonds, and all this can be structured according to your maturities and all the various risk profile that you might want to look at. We also have other capital market opportunities that are available for you. So I invite you to try us, as we're willing to work with you to grow either your business, grow your investments, or grow your lifestyle. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Okay, thank you very much for your contributions there. That's coming from Mrs. Korede Demola Adeni, Head Consumer Bank, Ecobank, Nigeria. We want to call Honorable Dabor Amos Nzaha, President, All Nigerian Nationals in Diaspora Togo, is to talk on the life of a typical Nigerian in diaspora, organizing for total inclusion.
I am here today to share with you the experiences of the lives from the African states. As we all know, because of the ECOWAS treaty, lots of Nigerians have scattered all over African countries. We, the all Nigerian nationals, we are from different ethnic tribes. We organize ourselves under allies and also affiliate organizations to the African diaspora, and we are recognized by the NICO as a commission. By the special grace of God, we try to manage the diaspora community here in Togo by creating WhatsApp to coordinate our people from our professionals, traders, students, women wing, and the youth forum for a better communication, which is one of the reasons why we are our brother's keeper. Anything happens to one diaspora member, here it happens to everyone. For example, the student community who are studying in Togo during the COVID-19 pandemic, when all our students from different universities who are here were able to receive financial support from their parents and cannot even travel out of Togo. Diaspora community also work with the embassy to give them food through donations to those students. Also, a lot of Nigerians, even those on transit, that has cases with the police, immigrations, we do intervene to feed them. Our nationals, we use the both umbrella of the African diaspora and the Nigerian community to make sure that we intervene and stop the maltreatment against our people in the Republic of Togo today, which is no longer in use the way it has been for the time past. Today, we create a working relationship with the security agencies in the West Coast here to help in tackling the human trafficking of our children through ANID and the Embassy of Nigeria. Today, we created diaspora events from sport, culture, Women's Day celebration, and the Nigerian Independence Day celebration, which always bring us together. In Togo, today, one of the major problems we were having was that education system of Togo, as we all know, is the French system, and many of our children were having challenges. But today, try to encourage some of our people who are educationists to establish the Nigerian system of education, and today the challenge is no more. We are now planning how to establish an off-campus Togo with the Nigerian University so that we can be able to help our people to stand in the gap and continue their education. And in this project, we are looking at how we can write and involve DITCOM as a commission and as well partner with Ecobank Nigeria to make it happen. In Togo today, Ecobank has been of a good help as a Pan-African institution. We are working with them and they introduce many diaspora products to us. We have a cordial relationship with the Director General of Ecobank Togo. Today, Ecobank has employed some of our children, and the major problem of language barrier, which was a major problem before, is no more. Because if you go to Ecobank Togo as a French-speaking country, you will discover that you are going to have foreign nationals working under the counter so that they can be able to attend to our people. You know, Nigeria have a large community here. Nigerians in Togo are about 2 million. Ecobank have already agreed and trained more than 400 diasporas last year. Why do we do so? Because we have an agreement and a contract with them so that we can be using their rapid transfer and other products in the community offices, so that by so doing we create jobs for our community and as well make the bank a Pan-African bank as it is. In Togo, we are opening accounts. I'm happy to announce this to you that we are opening an account with a 0 franc, that is 0 naira, because I don't know whether the diaspora community there in Nigeria are enjoying same, but today in Togo we are enjoying such. We are going to as well launch a diaspora ID card, which Ecobank is our partner, and we plan that this diaspora ID card is going to be used as well as a credit or visa card. With the structure as the president of the African diaspora, what we are doing here and the partnership we are going with other institutions, I believe that this is the time for me to come over to Nigeria, my country, as the president of African diaspora, to establish the diaspora community over there with the consultation with DITCOM, which I believe that they are the best agency to stand in the gap, and who will also involve Ecobank to spearhead this project, so that at the end of the day we achieve it. For now, I know that with what I've already stated, you will agree with me that Ecobank is a Pan-African bank. If we today were giving credit to them, I believe that they want it. I am hereby advising Nigerians that Ecobank is the only bank that you can meet much in the diaspora. It's our bank. We need to nurture it to grow for the benefit of the diaspora community and our children. I believe that the few things that I've mentioned here during question, if there's any question arising, stay here to give more light. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Dabur Amos Nzaha, President All Nigerian Nationals in Diaspora. Merci beaucoup pour votre contribution. Que Dieu vous bénisse. Il faut dire Amen. Okay, what we'll do now is we go to the questions and the answers, and then the first question I would like Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa to please key into this question before we come to the panelists. Okay, hence you are with us. This question says, what is the Diaspora Commission and of course private sector like Ecobank, what are they doing to facilitate the Nigerians abroad, to enhance better collaboration between Nigeria and our citizens abroad? Honorable Man.
Well, that's an open-ended question. If the guy follows what we've been doing, like I said, there's a diaspora policy. There are many programs in place for the diaspora which he should key into. So it's an open-ended question. There are many things we're doing. I've talked about the Diaspora Investment Trust Fund, Diaspora Summit, Diaspora Policy, Diaspora Voting, which is right now in front of Parliament, and then the points raised by Honorable Kazim are things that we have in the pipeline. So I'll be engaging him further in terms of how we can deepen diaspora remittance and make Nigerians come back. We have a program for the youth, the Nigerian youth who are very much interested in coming back home, but they just don't know how. So we're connecting with them. In fact, some will be coming in to do the internship. You know, they can come to Ecobank, for instance, spend 3 months, do the internship and go back. So there are many, many programs. If you can continue to come to our website, or if I know the guy's details, I can forward him the link to check everything. So we need to come in place now. There are policies that will guide, that will engage the diaspora. For instance, FCT has given us what they will call a diaspora medical city. Where the diaspora, you have the equity, the land, you can come and invest there. Most states are doing diaspora villages now, creating cities for the diaspora, for them to come and decide what you want to build. So many things are going on for the diaspora. Income is just 1 year old, and we believe that as we move on, if these policies are implemented, a lot will happen with the diaspora. A very significant group cannot ignore. So a lot is going on, and we keep working with the diaspora to ensure that we get the very best of them and build this country together. Thank you.
Okay, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much for that one. Yes, thank you very much, Honorable, for that input. Okay, Mr. Linus Adaba, you want to speak for the private sector? on the same issue? What is on this same issue that she's addressed?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Adedeji. What we can do really as a financial services institution for diaspora abroad is the fact that we are bringing tailor-made services, and that is what we have espoused today at this conference. Of course, we have defined these products from the point of the need we see that you require, i.e., remitting that funds home, using it to transact so the money is working for you, is not idle, and also using that money to do investment. Of course, we can't do this without collaboration in your host countries, and that is why we favor partnerships that speaks to serving Nigerians abroad. So we have various partnerships for the needs that you require, but that is not a stopping point for us, really. If today there is a need that we can work on together as a financial institution, trust that you have our support in that respect. In the various chapters where you are, it is for us to define what the problem is, and then we can work together on the solutions. So we do not have the government and policy arm of it. I'm sure that apart from the commission, the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, the embassies also have trade commissions that also helps in foreign missions. But as an institution spread all over Africa, majority of the countries in Africa and representative countries abroad, we understand that, and all those collaborations are things we can work on any needs beyond the product and services we have displayed to you today. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that one. Mrs. Korede, I'd like to ask you this one. This question says, my question is, I would like to know, okay, it says, what is Ecobank policy on Forex inflow into personal domiciliary accounts, given, for example, some banks in Nigeria are not allowing payments to third-party domiciliary accounts within the same bank?
Okay, thank you for that question. And I think there's been a lot of misinformation on that policy. But what I can tell you today is that Ecobank allows you from the diaspora to send in your remittance directly to a third party. It is Nigerians within Nigeria that is not allowed to do cash FX transfer within account. So we are ready for you. And I hope that clarifies that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, back to Mr. Adaba. All right. This person says, I really would like to know what Ecobank is doing to assist diaspora in Africa. It says, I can send over 5 million CFA to any Francophone country within the Ecobank network, but it's almost impossible to remit anything beyond $1,000 to my Ecobank account in Nigeria. Mr. Daba, how do you see this?
Okay, thank you for that. Within the Francophone environment, they use the same currency, and so sending money from one Francophone country to another is like transferring money from Lagos to Abuja. It's just like a domestic transfer. Now, beyond that economic bloc, there are regulatory and foreign exchange issues that needs to be observed. Today, in most of the countries that are Francophone transferring money to Nigeria, the government allows that threshold of $1,000 without explanation. It doesn't mean that you cannot do more than that. What the rule says is that you should come forward and justify the reason for transferring money beyond the threshold of that $1,000. So $1,000 now will be like an equivalent of 500,000 CFA. Okay. So when you are talking about 5 million, it's like we are looking at about $10,000 transfer in that respect. You can actually do that. So if you walk to any of our Ecobank branches with justifications, either you are buying goods from Nigeria or any importer, whatever it is, if you have a receipt to evidence what you want to send money for, that will be approved, and then it will be sent to Nigeria for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. It says, my second question is this. I would like to know in practical terms, what steps are being taken to enhance better trade, investment, knowledge transfer, etc. between diasporans and country? We need to move beyond remittances. I think that's addressed to you, Mr. Daba.
Okay, thanks. Actually, it is true that remittances is more like the person-to-person remittance proceeds. And most of us are engaged in cross-border trade, and we need to start that conversation and start putting framework in place to ensure that trading amongst ourselves in Africa becomes something that is also easy, removing all the bottlenecks. Recently, one of the webinar series that we hosted in Ecobank has to dwell on Africa Trade Forum, and it was well attended, where issues were espoused and solutions were also canvassed for. So those kind of forums helps us to deepen the conversation on the trade we can do within ourselves cross-border. There are, yes, limiting factors today, but there are no reasons why we cannot trade with ourselves, removing all those barriers. And so we have to bring all the stakeholders on board. And when we talk about government here, we also look at all the arms of government that facilitate trade. It is the custom, the people that keep the border in that respect. And of course, the foreign exchange of converting that. The unique position of Ecobank in Africa allows us to become that platform that can easily facilitate trade payments from one country to the other. But this also has to be supported in the conversion of those currencies in a way that is very easy and seamless. We have platforms today that can make that happen instantly, bringing traders together. So we need to have the political will to ensure that this is something that is happening for everyone, because it is only when we trade together as Africans that we can maximize our potentials and create wealth. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. I'd like to still throw the same question to Dr. Kazim Bello. With your vast experience in Nigeria and in the diaspora, what steps do you think can be taken to enhance better trade, investment, knowledge transfer, etc. between the diasporans and our country, Nigeria? Dr. Bello, sir.
I'll go straight to tell you that number one and the most important factor is building human capital. Nigeria is lacking in human capital development, period. And this is why we have poverty across the country. We have potentialities in terms of building human capital. if you go back to look at some of these countries that come out of poverty, they didn't come out of poverty because of what you said. They didn't come out of poverty because of trade and investment. No. They didn't come out of poverty because they built so many factories. No. They came out of poverty because they reinvested in human capital. And China, number 1. India, number 2. Bangladesh, number 3. Pakistan. And we can keep on naming some of those countries. We have to reinvest in human capital. How we are going to do it is a complex thing that we can be discussing in this forum. But the way I will answer it is, when you want to enhance anything, business, trade, investment, whatever you want to call it, you have to invest in human. When the citizens are capable, when they are enriched, when they are versatile, they are educated, and they have abundance means to do something, you will see investment flow anywhere that you want to go. I mean, just take the example of Indians and other countries that I mentioned. So I would say human capital development is very key to that success.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Dr. Bashir Obashekola, I'm sure you are brimming with ideas of what to say from your Russian experience, your European experience. Please share with us your perspective on this question.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. I think I will, also add that, the situation in Nigeria is a complex one. Of course, in as much as we are proud of ourselves that we are, well educated, the problem is, I think it's always good to what Dr. Kazim just said, that human capital, in the sense that it's a distorted, what I can say, proportion. We are educated, maybe we can say literate. We have literate people, but the problem is skills. Skilled people are lacking. If you want to have a country that can, proud itself that they are prepared for, investor, for example, the Chinese. How come that the American companies come to China to establish themselves, or to India? It's because they believe they have the prepared skills for those companies. The same thing happens to Nigeria. I remember that people talk about real estate, development. We discover that most of the people who are benefiting, who are being engaged in this sector, are foreigners. The same thing, it is because we lack the capital, the human capital for that sector. People are not, trained to have skills that are needed for economic development. And I think that's where we should go. We need to be, to come to our senses that it is not enough to know how to read and write, but we need to be able to acquire skills that will be necessary for economic development, even developed worlds. If you look at, Germany, why do we talk about Germany? Germans are mostly, technicians, and they are well trained in know what they do. The same thing applicable to most of these French-speaking countries of Africa, because they have realized that that's why you see Nigerians' houses are being built by Togolese and or Cote d'Ivoirians and all those things. And that is why I think we need to, look at that. How do we develop our skills, develop our technical skills, so that people will be able to participate in economic movement development. Oil sector employs very minute percentage of people, and whereas it is the largest economy, the largest sector we have. So we need to revisit that and see how we can develop our human capital. So I think I agree with Dr. Kazim about that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be terminating the questions and answers at this juncture, but be rest assured that if you still have questions unanswered, we have a team that will answer the questions and forward them to you. But rest assured of that. But it's because of time that we're wrapping up the question session.